right, well then I'm going to get started. It looks like everyone is here. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, can you all see that? You can just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Perfect, thank you. All right, everyone, so welcome to week 2. We will be talking about connections. And just to briefly go over the agenda, we will be talking about Wi-Fi. We'll briefly touch about the safety of public Wi-Fi. And we'll talk about Bluetooth, basic preloaded apps, as well as email. All right, so to get started, we're going to talk a little bit about Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is a way that computers, smartphones, or other devices can connect to the internet or communicate wirelessly with one another in a specific area. Typically, cellular data is used for the same things as Wi-Fi, like email, internet usage, watching videos, and downloading apps, as well as doing software updates. However, depending on your phone plan, Wi-Fi will probably is a better option, and I'm going to explain why. So if you have limited data on your phone plan, connecting to the internet or speaking with others via phone or texting is using that data that you have in your plan. Many people have unlimited data plans, but if you have a limited data plan, you're going to want to use Wi-Fi whenever you can. Otherwise, they will charge you for going over your allotted data. So yeah, just be aware if you have a limited data plan that you want to be aware of using Wi-Fi whenever you can. So in the control center, we talked about the control center a little bit last week, but the Wi-Fi icon in your control center will be blue if turned on and gray if turned off. The mobile data icon, which is right diagonally above it, will be green if on and gray if turned off. Now, if you're trying to use Wi-Fi and your mobile data is on, that's okay. You don't need to turn your mobile data off in order to get Wi-Fi to work. So anytime your Wi-Fi is on, it will automatically set a priority to use Wi-Fi data rather than cellular data. You can also see your connection by looking at the top right-hand corner of your notification bar on your screen. So here I have my little Wi-Fi bar, and it shows me how connected I am to the Wi-Fi based on this. I guess it's kind of like a, I don't really know how you would describe it, kind of like a pizza slice. So if the top part of the pizza slice in this picture for the Wi-Fi button is lower than the 3 bars, then you know that you have a somewhat moderate connection. And if it just has a little ittiest bit, the tiniest part at the bottom of the Wi-Fi symbol, you know that you have a pretty weak connection. And if nothing shows up, you have no connection. So if, for example, if this Wi-Fi symbol was all gray, you would know that you weren't connected to the internet. And then we have Bluetooth. So again, from your control center, if you swipe down, and this is this is an Android picture. I couldn't find a really good Apple picture. I'm not really sure why. So, but it's pretty much the same thing. So when you scroll down from the top of your screen, you will see the Bluetooth. It's the 3rd one in on the top row on this one. And again, if it's blue, it is on, and gray if it's off. So Bluetooth is very similar to Wi-Fi in a way. It allows Bluetooth-enabled devices and phones, cameras, television speakers, you name it, to connect wirelessly or hands-free to another device. So for example, if you had a newer car that had the ability to make phone calls and it had Bluetooth enabled, you know, if it had Bluetooth in your car, you would be able to connect it to your phone. And then you could just tell your car to call whoever, and you could do so hands-free. Bluetooth is also really good for headphones. A lot of headphones now are wireless, meaning that they don't have the wires that come down and you plug it directly into your phone. Rather, they're having us now it's really popular to have completely wire-free headphones that you would connect to your phone or your iPad, and then you could listen that way. Yeah, so to go ahead and connect something to Bluetooth, you're going to want to tap and hold that Bluetooth button that you see from your on your control center. And then it's going to scan for Bluetooth device options. Of course, you're going to have a device nearby for it to find something to connect to, and that device would have to be turned on. And then you could select your desired Bluetooth device from your phone. So there, regarding basic apps, I'm calling basic apps apps that are preloaded on your phone. So there are many, many, many apps that are preloaded onto your phone that you can't necessarily delete, or they are really good applications for functionality. So yes, there are many different icons that illustrate which app you're looking for. So if we're looking at the top left-hand corner of this picture here, that A symbol would be like for your app store. The one with the heart is for Apple Health. That could like track your the steps that you take. You can also track your nutrition intake, and you can also track your blood pressure. Of course, it doesn't have that built in. You would have to check your blood pressure from another device and then just kind of record it in that. And then that's the next one over is with the house, the orange house. For example, that one would be your Apple Home or your Google Home, which if you had smart devices like smart lights, or if you had an Alexa or something like that, you would be able to manage your home. Like for example, I have a thermostat that is controlled by Alexa. And if I were to go to that home app, I could sync it with Alexa and my thermostat, and then I could control my thermostat, my lights from wherever using my phone. And then to delete an app, you would want to tap and hold to begin editing your applications. It's going to ask if you would like to edit your home screen, and that's when you would say yes. And then the applications kind of do this like wiggly dance. They kind of like bounce around. And then there will be like a minus bar at the top left-hand corner of the app. If you wanted to delete that app, you would tap the minus bar and then click delete. Some phones, some older iPhones, instead of hitting edit home screen, you might press and hold the app. And then if you drag the app to the top of your screen, there might be a trash can and it might say delete this app. That's just another way to go about deleting apps, especially if you had an older iPhone. Does anybody have any questions about the icons in this picture? If you wanted to know a specific icon and what it was? Okay,
What's productivity?
Productivity. Perfect. Yes, productivity is a list. It's like an assistant kind of on your phone to kind of help you create an agenda, to show how much work that you're doing, or kind of create an outline of your work so that you can see how much productivity you've kind of been successful in, or to kind of look at future assignments or future events, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of these apps, they're just really fun to play around with. I really highly recommend just kind of going through your phone and going through these apps and seeing what they do, and just kind of getting used to them as you can. It's really great opportunity to learn, and you'll learn a lot more about your phone if you just kind of go through them. They're really great. Okay, so regarding basic apps, one of the first things that comes to mind is Maps. Maps is a great way to get to where you're going, but also to alert you to the fastest route to your destination. It also lets you know if there's an accident ahead, if there's a speed trap ahead. Your phone will automatically tell you, like, hey, there's a speed trap ahead, like, be aware, be cautious, or there's an accident up the road, or a disabled vehicle. It's a really great tool on your phone. And to kind of go over it, I actually have a great video. I think this guy did an amazing job explaining Google Maps. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And again, I know that it says Android, but it's the same thing on your iPhone. This was just the best video that I found. So we're going to go ahead and watch the video.
Google Maps can calculate the
Can you guys hear the audio?
Yes.
Perfect.
fastest route to location and
It's not working, the sound.
Does someone have a question?
No, the sound is not working on mine.
Okay, can everybody else hear it? No? Okay, let me go ahead and see.
Directions from your. This blue circle is the direction symbol.
Can everybody hear that now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
To begin getting directions, tap it. At the top of the screen, there will be two fields. The top field, labeled From, will be set to your location by default. If you don't want to get directions from your current location, you can tap this field and enter a new starting location. To pick a destination, tap on Choose Destination. Then enter a location. You can enter a specific address or search for a destination by entering the name of a place, such as a restaurant, store, park, or school. When the correct destination appears in the drop-down list, tap to select it. Once a destination is chosen, Google Maps will show an overview of the route along with the estimated travel time. Google Maps offers directions for different methods of transportation. You can select whether you'll be traveling by car, using public transportation, walking, or riding a bike by tapping the appropriate icon. Here, Travel by Car is selected. When you are ready to start your trip, tap on the blue circle with the arrow. This will take you to the navigation view. Travel time, distance to the destination, and estimated time of arrival are displayed at the bottom of the screen. At the top of the screen is the next action required in the directions to reach your destination. Here, it indicates that in 100 feet, you will need to make a left turn on South Harrington Street. Directly below the street name, specific traffic lanes are displayed. The left turn arrow in white indicates you should be in the left lane to take a left turn when you reach South Harrington Street.
Turn left onto South Harrington Street, then turn left onto Hillsborough Street.
Google Maps will read instructions to you as you make your way to your destination.
You should reach your destination by 11:44 a.m. Turn left onto Hillsborough Street.
Don't worry if you miss a turn.
Turn right onto St. Mary's Street.
Google Maps will automatically recalculate your route to get you back on track to your destination.
In a quarter mile at the traffic circle, take the first exit and stay on Hillsborough Street. In 1,000 feet, you will arrive at your destination.
Once you have arrived, Google Maps will automatically end its directions.
You have arrived at your destination.
You can stop directions at any time by pressing the X in the bottom left of your screen. Google Maps will display a street view image to help you find the right location. Getting directions with Google Maps is
All right, everyone, did anyone have any questions about Google Maps? Yeah, go ahead, Art.
Is it Google Maps that controls the map that you can use right from your calendar? You know, if you have an address of a place you want to visit on your calendar, you can tap that, and it usually produces a map. with the
Yeah.
directions. It is the same app.
Okay, so with your iPhone, you have two different app options. You have Apple Maps or yeah, I think it's Apple Map. And typically that's the one that's already pre-downloaded onto your phone. It looks like this.
Yeah.
And it has pretty much the same functions as Google Maps. The only reason I prefer Google Maps over Apple Maps is because Apple Maps does not always tell you if there is a speed trap ahead or if there is a disabled vehicle ahead. Apple Maps does tell you, though, when there's going to be a camera, like a speed trap camera up ahead. You can always download the Google Maps app, and it's really up to you. They pretty much function the same way. Even with this tutorial that we have here, it's pretty much, the layout is pretty much the same. The only difference is what it will tell you about your environment.
But the app that just says maps underneath it,
Yeah,
so that would be the Apple Maps as
that
opposed
is the Apple one. Yeah, so you would have to go and download from the App Store the Google Maps. But again, they're pretty much identical. They're going to do the same things. They're going to reroute. They're going to tell you how far away it is. The setup is pretty much identical. Yeah.
So it's the Apple Maps that that comes into play when you're clicking on your calendar, when you're clicking it's the Apple Maps.
Yeah.
So I just have one question. I've done that a number of times, and frequently I can't get the sound to work. I mean, it'll give me the picture and it'll show the movement, but I can't seem to figure out how to get the sound to work. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Which at that point I rely on my wife, but I don't always have her in the car. So I was just wondering if there was something I was doing wrong when it's kind of hard when you're driving to try fiddling around with the phone to get the sound to work. That's
Right, exactly. Yeah. So a really good recommendation I have is to make sure that you have your maps up and going before you start your car. And the reason that your volume might not be working, there's a couple of reasons. So even if your ringer is all the way up, so if I click on my phone and I do this and it says my ringer is all the way up still, that doesn't mean that my media volume is all the way up. So if you have an app open that uses media sound, which would be Apple Maps or YouTube or Spotify or Pandora, whatever, you would have to click your volume button all the way up again when you're using that app. So it won't change. If you do this normally and there's no app going on your phone, it's just going to turn up your ringer volume. But if you have the app open that uses the media volume, the media sound, and then you go ahead and turn your volume up, it's controlling your media volume now. Yeah, so your media volume might have been low. And there's another way that that could have happened. So if you had your Bluetooth on, it might be scanning constantly to try to find something to connect to, and it might have found something that was open and available to connect to. And then it would be going through that Bluetooth device and you wouldn't hear it because you're not listening to whatever Bluetooth it's coming from.
Yeah, I have found that when my Bluetooth is on, sometimes I will get it over the car radio.
Yes,
It's kind of
yes.
cool. Okay, thank you. I think that the issue was that when I first start out, I'm hearing the sound, and maybe the problem is that that's because maybe Bluetooth is on and it's looking for I don't know, but that gives me something to look for. Thank you.
Yeah.
I forgot there were two different. The volume on the media remembers what it was when you turned it off, and you have to. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so if you don't want that to go through Bluetooth, just before you get started, turn your Bluetooth off, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, okay, great, thanks.
Anybody else have any questions about maps before we get started? Okay, cool. So now we have the Notes app. And here at the top right-hand corner, I have two different icons that your notes can look like on the iPhone. So it might be this square that is folded over, kind of looks like a Post-it note, or it could be this light bulb. Now the one that's pre-downloaded on your phone is the one with the square, the Post-it note one. But again, there's another one, which is the light bulb one, and that is called Google Keep Notes, K-E-E-P, Keep. And I really, really like this, this note application. So basically the setup is kind of like sticky notes, as we can see from this first picture. We have like a shopping list of photos. It kind of looks like a whole bunch of sticky notes onto your phone that you can kind of scroll through to remind yourself like what you have going on, you know, things to remember. So this will be a tutorial on the Google Keep Notes, but your notes in your phone, the Apple Notes, works pretty much the same as well. There's just a few more additional functions with the Google Keep that I think are really beneficial. So to get started, to create a note, you would want to type in add quick note. So right here, let's look. Okay, so on the second picture here, the one to the right with the phone, at the very bottom right-hand corner, there is, oh, I have a pointer, cool. Right here, there is a kind of like a pencil and a piece of paper going on here. That is to create a new note. And then, or there might also be right here, take note, where you could immediately start typing in your note. You can also attach media with this microphone button here, or pictures using this camera button. And then once you create the list, you can also add boxes for check marks. So we see this shopping list here, and then you would just click list, like add list. And then you could check off these boxes as you complete your list. You're also going to want to title your note so you don't forget what your note is for. So here it says shopping list, send photos to Deb. Those are great to kind of keep everything clear. And then you can also color your note. So once you're on your note, there will be a palette icon in the top right-hand corner. I don't have a picture with this icon, but if I were to open up the shopping list, there would be a palette icon, like an artist palette with all the different kind of colors. And when you select that, you can pick a color to color code your notes, just to kind of keep clarity with that as well. Does anybody have any questions about notes?
Nope.
Okay. All right, and now we also have our calendar app, which is a great way to kind of keep up to date on your ongoings, not, to set reminders for every day. And I do have a video here that we're going to watch pretty briefly. So here we're typing in the event name. And then we can also add a location, a specific location for this meeting if you would like. You don't have to do this, it's very optional. And then we can select a date and time to start this event. And above that, there's also an all day option that you can toggle if it's going to take up your entire day. And you can also select a time to repeat. So if you have something that you want to be reminded of every day, you can go ahead and put it as repeat, or maybe it's like every other day. And then yes, you can select your travel time, how long it's going to take you to get there, so that it can notify you a little bit before so that you can get there on time. Yes, and then you can set how much time you would like it to remind you. So this is 15 minutes before your travel time starts. And you can add a little note too to remind yourself of something. And then once you're done, you can hit the add button. And there it is. You can also search for an event. And delete an event at the bottom. Yeah, and there's different view options. So you can view the day, the month, or the week. So yeah, and just like the Notes app, we can also color code our events in our calendar. So as we see in the picture here, depending on what kind or what what topic or event they are logging. They can pick light blue for work and purple for home life and gray for, you know, reminders. It doesn't really matter. You can go ahead and color code everything so you know what's for what. And there's also another app. So as we can see here at the top right-hand corner, so this would be the Google Calendar, which is very similar to the Apple Calendar. They're pretty much the same. Again, so this picture would be the Google Calendar, but the video that we looked at, that is the Apple Calendar. So does anybody have any questions about calendars? You can also share your calendar. If you go ahead and click an event, there should be a few 3 bars here that you will be able to share your calendar with somebody else so that they can see, you know, if you're busy, or they can keep up to date on your ongoings. All right, so now we have gallery, and your gallery is pretty straightforward. So again, here we have the icon for Google Photos. And Google Photos is pretty cool because say you were to get another device and you had been using Google Photos on your other device, when you get the new device, you could transfer your Google Photos instantly with your new device by logging into your Google account. So it kind of keeps it in a storage, kind of like the cloud in your Google Drive. So that way, if you were to lose your device or to change your device, you would still have access to those photos, which is another reason why I kind of prefer the Google Photos, because everything is just kind of tied to your account then, and you won't have to worry about losing the photos. You won't have to worry about losing your, you know, calendar, your information about that kind of stuff. And that's particularly a point of important if you were to switch from an Apple to an Android, because when you switch, it's not going to be able to get all of your data information, like your text messages, your photos, and everything like that always. So when we go to our Apple Photos, it's the one at the bottom here that kind of looks like a flower. And once we click on that, you're going to have a few different options. Oops, sorry. So you're going to have photos here, which will be a list of every single photo that you have. It's going to be in a list view. Or we have For You, which is going to be recommended photos. Sometimes it'll say 1 year ago today. Does someone have a question?
No.
Okay. And then we have albums here. So if you wanted to put certain photos together in an album, so like, you know, beach trip 2020, Myrtle Beach, you could move pictures into a specific folder or album, and then they would be collected based on the event or day. And then here we have search. So you can rename any photo in your gallery by tapping on the photo. And at the very top right-hand corner, right about here, there's going to be 3 dots. I can show you on my phone. So there's going to be, so this is our photo, and at the top here, there's an edit button. And once you have the edit button, there will be 3 dots at the top. And a list of actions to do. So you can edit, and you can adjust, and you can move to a new location, hitting options. Okay, so like I said, there's an edit option, so you can edit your photo using filters. You can turn up the brightness, you can turn up the contrast, You can add text and pictures sometimes onto your photos. And there's also a share button. So again, if we're looking at my phone, there's going to be a little button down below that has like a box and an arrow. Can you all see that? And that's your share button. So if you click that, it's going to ask you who you would like to share it with or what application you would like to share through. So I have my email, I have Facebook, I have Instagram, or I have personal contacts that I can send a text message to. You can also delete a photo with this little trash can icon at the bottom right of your screen, or you can move to a new location, which is what we were talking about before. Does anybody have any questions about photos?
If you delete a photo from your phone, does that delete the pictures from your other devices, let's say your computer?
No, it shouldn't. Yeah, so if you put those pictures onto your computer, or if those pictures are in your cloud and they're already backed up, even if you delete them from your phone, they'll still be in your cloud or on your computer.
Are we going to go over the cloud?
If that, I think that's going to be a special interest topic. I'm not sure. I can talk to Carolyn and Rebecca about what we're doing with the cloud, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be a special interest topic. And if it's not, then I can go ahead and add it into upcoming lessons.
Okay, because I don't quite understand the cloud. I know it's like a filing cabinet up there, but still how it works.
Yeah, so it just automatically backs it up to your account. But yes, we can go over that as well.
Okay.
Equally important, I think, to figuring out the cloud. Are you going to have a session on using iTunes or download or saving your computer? You know, the proper words are escaping me, but backing up your iPhone to your other device, so that if you have a problem, you can always reinstate it. You know, I'm talking about the basic maintenance.
Your updates on your phone?
Well, not necessarily the updates on my phone, but periodically I try like once a month to go onto iTunes and sync my phone with iTunes, and then to put a backup copy of the phone on iTunes. I know some people do it in the cloud also. My preference is not. I mean, are you gonna have a general session on what I would call, maintenance of the phone, security, which it's not exactly security, but it's protecting the user if they have issues down the line, because you can always go back to iTunes and reinstate the last backup.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about transferring your media. So to make sure that it's transferring to your other device, whether it's a computer or an iPad. We are going to be talking about, I think that Rebecca is going to talk a little bit about iTunes. I didn't plan on talking about iTunes, but I can, if I do have space in other upcoming lessons, or if we get early one day, we can talk a little bit about iTunes. And we will be going over updates, and I can quickly go over making sure that you're backing up into the cloud. The cloud will be an advanced or a special interest topic. I got confirmation from Carolyn. So it is going to be I believe it's a 1-hour session once a month where we have special interest topics, and the cloud and backing up your information will be on one of those.
Yeah, hi, it's Carolyn. I just wanted to add that Alex's 6 weeks is more geared towards the fundamentals of how you use your device. Rebecca will be covering some of what you're talking about, like syncing your device and safety updating. So Alex will kind of cover it briefly, and then Rebecca will go a little bit deeper into that. And I don't have the date yet for the special interests presentation on the cloud, but it is on the list to be scheduled.
Thanks, Carolyn. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about the gallery before I move on? Nope. Okay. So now we have the clock and alarm. Of course, the clock, you can set multiple locations and their times with the world clock. So this is the one that's very, very end. You can add locations with this little plus sign here. Can everybody see my pointer?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So with this little plus sign, you would search your location.
No.
So it would be Cleveland, Ohio. But if you have someone that lives in another state, or if they live in another country that you want to see what time it is there before you could give them a call, you can add another location. The stopwatch, of course, is designed to measure the amount of time that has elapsed. It is at the very bottom, the second to right. It's highlighted right here. So you would be able to hit start and kind of time how long something takes to develop, I guess. And then here we have alarm. And you would be able to set as many alarms as you want using this plus button. And very similar to the calendar app, you could set this up with a title. So for mine, I have like, take my meds in the morning, take my meds in the afternoon. My class starts at this time. And I could select it to repeat. So I can select it to repeat every day. I can have it do every weekday. I can have it do just Tuesdays. I can have it just do Wednesdays or only on the weekends. And you can also edit your alarms using the edit button up top. All right, does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, we're gonna get started. Yeah, so to set up the alarm, you would open up the clock app, and then you would tap the alarm tab, and then you would select a time for your alarm. And again, you can repeat to set a reoccurring alarm. You can label your alarm. You can choose what sound it plays. And to delete, you can swipe to the left and then click delete here. And you can also ask your assistant to set an alarm for you. So for example, I could say, hey Siri, set an alarm for 12 p.m.
Your alarm is set for noon.
And then she just sets that alarm for me. Okay, so just like last week, we talked about background running apps. And again, I really wanted to go over that because it's such an important part of making sure that your apps are closed and you're not wasting battery. So background running apps, of course, decrease your battery life. And to stop them, you would double tap on your home screen, or if you have one of the newer phones, this bar at the bottom, you would swipe it up. And then you would swipe up again. Whew. And then it would have everything that you, all of your background running apps. And then you would just swipe up to get rid of all of these apps. And then, yeah, so you want to swipe up to put them to sleep. And, oh, did anybody have any questions about background running apps before we go into discussion questions or anything that people wanted to talk about? Okay, perfect. All right, does anybody have any questions?
Safari. I don't know if a lot of people use Safari. I know my wife loves it. But do you have battery issues with Safari? I mean, there are ways of getting rid of what's open on Safari. And I've read in some cases that you don't have battery issues. In other places, I've read that you do by not closing them out. I don't really know what the answer is, but it seems to me when I tap on Safari and I see all of these little letters, it seems to me that the computer's holding those. It must be using some power to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Let me go ahead and open my Safari. Where is my Safari? It doesn't matter. We can go ahead and do this with, where the heck is my Safari? Oh, I found it. Okay. So then we would, okay, perfect. Yes. Okay, so once we hit Safari, it's going to go to our homepage. So here I'm trying to sign into Venmo. You don't have to worry about that. But at the very bottom here, you see those two squares.
Yes.
For this book page. If you click those two squares, it's going to bring up, just like your background running apps, a list of every single web page that you've ever opened, which I have a ton. And then you can go ahead and click these little X's here and get rid of them if you would like. And that can save your battery. So again, just like background running apps, you're going to want to make sure that your web page browser, like tabs, are not, you don't have like a ton of them open. It's the same thing as if you were on your computer and you had a web page open, but then you kept clicking new tab, new tab, new tab, new tab for a whole bunch of other things that you're searching for. If you have too many, it kind of slows down your computer, or it makes your computer die faster. It's the same thing with your phone. I think it's really good to look at your phone as a mini computer because it functions a lot the same way.
Alex,
Yeah.
what exactly is Safari? Is that a website or is that an app? I'm not.
Yeah, so it is Apple's web browsing search. Okay, so like, you know how we have Google Chrome and you have Bing? And
okay.
Yeah, and a long time ago there used to be like Ask Jeeves. It's the same thing. It's a search. So Safari is Apple's search engine.
Some people like Safari a lot.
Yeah, Safari is great. There was another one, and I can't remember what it was, but it started with a B. And it was a great web search tool that actually provides, they plant trees for every search that you do. So that was like a really cool search engine to use because you're kind of contributing to the planting of more trees. So real quickly before we go, I'm going to go over the week 3 agenda so that you guys are all prepped and ready to go. So for week 3, we are going to be talking a little bit about chatting and voicemail. So we're going to go over basic texting, calling, voicemail, call safety, assistance, general settings. And I'm just remembering that I kind of forgot to tell you guys about the Wi-Fi safety. So real quick before we go, you want to make sure that if you're using public Wi-Fi, that you are being safe with your personal information. So if you were going to go in and use public Wi-Fi, it's totally safe to do so, but you want to make sure that you're not logging into your bank account or putting in passwords that someone might be able to hack. So unless you're actively using those passwords or you are logging into personal websites, you should be good to go, but just be aware that if you are using those public Wi-Fi options, that you're not putting in any personal information when you're using your phone. All right, everyone. Any questions before we wrap up the day?
Thank you.
Of course, it was great having all of you guys. I hope you enjoyed.
See you next week.
Yes, I'll see you all next week. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. It's beautiful outside.